Hey, it's Howard here. Hope you're doing well. In today's video, I want to share a bit of a controversial opinion that you may or may not agree with, and that's going to be why you should be stupid with your money. So, real quick, I want to clarify a few things, and this is in no way to condone just spending all of your paycheck on anything and everything, just buying a bunch of stuff. But what I am going to suggest in this video is you spend more money on experiences and your environment specifically. Those are going to be the two things that I'm mainly going to be talking about in this video. And so the reason why I really want to talk about this is because right now, currently in this era that we're living in with inflation, cost of living going up, the disappearance of third places, and then also with the division that we currently have, there are less people going out and meeting new people, hanging out with friends and all that. And this is especially the case with a lot of young men specifically. So if you are a guy in, his 20s or 30s, then I think that you'll get some value from, my insights here. And so I'm also going to share a bit about my own story, my own experiences with this. And so in my case, for a majority of my life, I would say majority of my 20s, I've always been a minimalist. I've always been very frugal with my spending. So in my case, I, did the 40-hour work week. I worked, multiple jobs, 40 hours a week. And then also I would spend majority of my free time at home building my online business. And, in my case, I'm in the online marketing space. So I spend a lot of my time creating videos on YouTube and other platforms as well. So in my case, I spent majority of my time. And when I first got online in the online marketing space, I got started when I first got started, I was living in my parents' basement at the time. And so also the jobs that I had, the last 3 jobs that I worked were within walking distance of where I lived at the time. So that also helped me save on buying a car as well. So I was very frugal during this time. And my main mindset during this phase was, okay, if I just focus all of my energy on building this up, building up an income that would, be enough to not work, have to work a 9 to 5 anymore, then that will give me more freedom, than ever, right? And so that way I'll have more time freedom and more money than the average person to then, experience things, right? Travel more, buy the fancy car, the fancy watch and all that. And so in my case, I was never too motivated when it came to having the nicest car or the nicest house. For me, it's always been mainly about experiences, because when it comes to going to events, for example, right, or traveling to a new city, traveling to a new location, right, that is an experience that will be with you for the rest of your life. That'll create stories, it'll create memories. And so that's the main benefit with spending on experiences, right? So the number one thing that you should invest in is going to be your mindset and your skill set. Best investment you can make is in building yourself up. But the next best investment after that, if I had the opportunity to go back to the 5 to 7 years that I was first trying to grow my online business and spending all that time just creating content in that dark environment, I would be spending a lot more money on experiences, and I would be changing up my environment a lot earlier than I ended up doing. So the reason for that is because time is your number one most valuable asset. You could always make more money. You could always get a promotion at your job. You could always make another sale in your business. And you could always manifest money if you're into manifesting as well. And if you're not, I highly recommend that you get into manifesting, learn about how to manifest money. You could always get that money back, but you can never get time back. So if you spend majority of your especially your early years, just trying to save money, then you are likely going to be living a very average life. And unless if you happen to have a business that takes off very early on, most likely you are not going to benefit that much from just trying to save money. And so just to give you an idea, if you decide, let's say for example, a close family member or a close friend says, hey, there's going to be this cool event, down in let's say that you live in, Wisconsin, for example, right? And there's a cool thing happening in Chicago, south from Wisconsin. So you're okay, you hear about this cool thing that's going on that'll be for 3 to 4 days or something. And your friend invites you out to, travel down there and, hang out or whatever, right? Well, if you instantly just say, oh, I'm trying to save money, or I don't really have the time because I have to work those days, well, that is time that you're going to give up. And so if you decide to, even if you don't have the money right now, and your business isn't doing so well, or you're not making that much at your job, if you're able to borrow the money, and if it's something that you actually want to do, then I highly recommend, borrow some money, borrow a couple $100 or whatever, or $1,000, however much it is, book the plane ticket, book the event, book the, the hotel, whatever it is, and just go to the event and just have fun, right? Because a year after that, you will never look back at your bank account and think, man, I wish I had that extra $1,000 that I spent on that event, right? Because you could always make that money back. And most of the time when you invest in experiences and, you invest in your environment, you just, invest more money into things that you enjoy doing, you're going to find a way to make that money back. You're going to feel the pressure to work harder at your job. You're going to work harder on your business. And so the other important thing with this is if you are going to do as I'm recommending here, you should ideally be working towards building another stream of income outside of your 9 to 5. And so that is a mistake that you will make when you take this advice is you are you're just doing the regular 40-hour work week, and understand that your job can replace you at any time. AI can take your position in the next 5 years, which most positions are going to be replaced by AI. I believe that personally. I hope it doesn't happen, but I believe it will. So you want to be preparing yourself in the best way possible by creating multiple streams of income. So whether that is some sort of online business, maybe it's starting a YouTube channel, maybe it is growing a TikTok profile, and you have a course that you want to sell, that you want to create, or you decide to get into online marketing like myself and you want to promote something, then you could find some type of offer that you resonate with, whether it's in the health and wellness space, the make money online, cryptocurrency, or you want to promote something in the travel niche, whatever you want to get into, you can find something that you resonate with. You can learn about a specific topic, you can create content around it, and then you could focus on building up another stream of income. And as you are being able to experience, nice things, going to events, traveling a bit more, then you can also that could also motivate you in a way to build your business, right? And so a lot of people are, again, living very minimal, and that I feel like is holding a lot of young guys back from really reaching their potential, because even if you are like, let's say for example, you're trying to save more money and you're doing that for the purpose of, like, let's say you want to have more money to invest in your business, that I highly respect, by the way, because that was how I was for majority of my life. You never know when your business is going to take off. Like, you might decide, okay, I'm going to save more money so I can have more money to invest into paid traffic, for example, right? Unless if you already have, the data that shows that, you're getting like a good ROI from that, and you know that it's going to work, then you don't know for sure if that's actually going to take off in the next, year or so, right? And so you could spend, let's say for example, 5 years just trying to build a business, but the environment you're in isn't that inspiring to you. Maybe you're living with multiple people, or you find that you just find that you're very you just don't feel motivated. Well, that might hold you back if you are if you're in a position where you're not actually enjoying yourself in the process, right? So that can become very isolating as well. And so again, I'm saying this from my own experience, because I spent more than 5 years walking to and from work, 20-minute walk, and then I would come home. I would be in a very dark environment. I was living in my parents' basement, and I was trying really hard to grow my online business in the process, right? And so I had several wins throughout that duration. So it wasn't like I made no money at all. I had phases where I was making a full-time income in that environment, but I was still trying to save as much as possible, and I kept putting it off. Okay, once I get to this income, then I'll do this. Once I reach 10K a month, then I will start living on my own. And so you also, from a spiritual manifestation standpoint, you want to act as if you are the person that has the results that you desire right now. So understand that money responds to energy. And so when you are spending your time just constantly trying to save money, and you're not going out doing things that you enjoy, what you're saying to the universe is, I don't have the money, or the time to experience nice things. And so that will also hold you back subconsciously, even when it comes to growing your business, because you're affirming, hey, I'm not making enough money in my business to do nice things that I want to actually do, right? And so that is the downside of being frugal with your money. That is the downside of, constantly trying to save money, is you are subconsciously telling yourself, I don't have the money to do things. And so there are cases here and there where it might actually be, smart to save your money, but you want to be careful not to be doing that for too long, because, for example, if you are working your regular 9 to 5, and especially right now, I think most people can agree that these last 5 years have just flown by, right? Like, it feels like, just a few months ago, we were all wearing masks, and we were, in that era, in 2020. I don't want this video to get, flagged or whatever if I say certain buzzwords, but you know what I'm referring to, right? In 2020. And so if you get too comfortable, if you're working your regular 9 to 5 right now and you get too comfortable and you think, okay, I'm just going to keep trying to save money, I'm just going to, live below my means, the next 5 years are going to go by, like that, right? And so before you know it, it's going to be another 5 years of you still in the same position. You haven't made much progress towards where you want to go in life. And so that is the main reason from an energetic standpoint. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you can also learn how to manifest money as well by affirming that you do have the money. So for example, about 3 years ago, in August of 2022, I'm filming this in August of 2025, I manifested a large sum of money, and that was $16,000. And I made a video about it, back when it happened in August of 2022. And so the story with this, I'll share it very briefly, was I got scammed out of $3,000 about 2 years prior. And so my goal that month was to manifest $3,000 from an unexpected source, which actually did come in. And I might even do like another video retelling that story with maybe more context if you want to hear more about it. So if you want to hear about the story, I will leave the original video down below in the description if you want to check it out. Otherwise, if you're interested, I will do another video on it and I will talk more about, what happened right here. And so, yeah, I ended up manifesting $16K in that month. And as a result, I quit the job that I was working just a few months later. And not only that, but I attended my first ever online business conference. My first time ever getting on a plane happened because of this manifestation. And then also I was able to spend a full year pretty much just, like without like a regular 9 to 5, right? And so I spent, several months just working on, my business. And I was able to travel to a few, cities, right? Outside of where I was currently living. So I had multiple Airbnbs booked in different locations, for like 1 month each. And then because I paid for them all up front, I didn't have any like monthly expenses for several months, right? Which is kind of cool. So yeah, then also there were a lot of cool stories that came from that as well that I could share in this video, but I don't want this video to get too long. But those are experiences that I got as a result of taking a risk, quitting the 9 to 5 that I was working, that I didn't, feel too excited about at the time. And it was a chance for me to experience working the business full time and see how that went for me. So that being said, let me know your thoughts below, what you think of this take. If you agree with me, if you disagree, if there's anything that you want to add that I didn't mention in this video, or if you hated everything that I said, feel free to drop your thoughts down below as well. And I would really be interested to hear why you disagree and why you think I'm completely wrong. So that being said, let me know your thoughts. Give this a thumbs up. If you want to check out the online business that I've been, running, that's been allowing me to build a residual income, then you could check that out down below as well. And that's a way that you could use to build up another income on the side of your 9 to 5. But other than that, hope you found this helpful and take care. All the best.